Life Skills South Florida is certified both to provide addiction services and mental health in the state of Florida. We have worked with Heather Hayes on many difficult cases as Heather has sought out the specialty of life skills specifically around underlying issues of mental health and trauma and the role those play in one's addiction. Heather, thank you for inviting us to your house today and your farm. Found something interesting about you that I think a lot of the people who work with you nationally, they may not know in detail, your passion for horses.
This is my haven, my farm. I grew up with horses. I rode competitively as a kid. And I believe that that's part of what helped me to get sober at 21 years old. I had some incredible trainers along the way that were really inspirational to me. And I think that there are a lot of things that come to play why someone's able to get sober or get sober young. And I think that the horses and the people around the horse world with me had a big part of that.
I had the privilege of hearing you in Delray Beach about a year ago at a national talk you did, Delray Beach SUD Talk. The title was A Nation Held Hostage. Something else people may not know is that in addition to all of your certifications, you're also a certified hostage negotiator.
I am, International Certified Hostage Negotiator. And that talk was really monumental for me because it gave me the ability to talk about all of the parallels between everything that we do working with terrorist situations and taking a look at how our nation is truly held hostage by addiction. In the negotiation worlds, we want to save lives. We want people to get out of dangerous, difficult, traumatic situations, and we want them to get out safely, and we don't want any losses. And I think that that is something that we need to translate over to the addiction world, is that there should be zero acceptable losses. We know a lot today about treating addiction. We know who's at risk. And I think we all need to stand back and say that we have no room for people dying from this disease, that everybody can recover. In 2001, I met the head of our hostage negotiation team here in my county, and he asked me if I wanted to help out. The new trend was to have mental health providers come on as sort of psychological profilers, and that's what I did. And as I studied, I went to an FBI certification school. I got trained by some of NYPD's finest. And as I sat and learned about terrorism and hostages and the principles behind it, I couldn't stop thinking about what we do in our world and how with addiction, we know that our brains are taken hostage, that people are taken hostage, that families are taken hostage, that everybody's affected. Our first responders, our places of worship, our hospitals, our doctors. You know, when you have a terrorist attack, it changes everything. And there were so many parallels for me about how we've all been taken hostage. That the biggest terrorist we have today, I believe, is addiction.
You're very good at describing the addict as the terrorist and the family as being hostage. And we have many families that are going to look at this and they're going to listen. They're going to have the same feelings.
Part of what I looked at is how addiction, the disease of addiction, takes not only the addict hostage, but that families are also taken hostage too. And in the same way where you have Stockholm Syndrome, where you have people who are under extreme stress, someone's got power over them, that they have this sort of trauma bond, they actually end up becoming attached to their captors, protective of their captors. And I think that there's a parallel between what happens with addiction and families and Stockholm Syndrome, that people who have family members, loved ones who are addicted, they watch them struggle, they watch them slowly kill themselves, and their brain chemistry changes too, and they're very susceptible to manipulation. It's extremely painful to watch a person you love kill themselves slowly over time, or to have that kind of death in the family. We have family members who've grown up with parents who are addicted, and then about the time their children hit the teenage years, they're dealing with their kids becoming addicted too. So generationally, they have it on both sides. So I think that what happens for families is that they get post-traumatic stress disorder too. And we come in as an industry and we've sort of made the worst word you can call somebody enabler. We've come in and we've pathologized people, particularly moms.
And you really gave us another picture of what it is for a family system to deal with enabling. Because I think families sometimes need hope, and they need to realize that, these are natural things we're going through. This is not unique.
Absolutely. I believe that families come in and do everything that they're naturally driven to do as a person with a heart who loves someone. The problem is that it backfires when you have addiction or mental health issues there. Families come in and try and help by paying the bills or comforting their loved one or making things easier. And what we need to do, rather than coming in and saying, don't enable, that's not good, do you want to kill your kid? I mean, what a horrible thing to say to a parent. None of them want to kill their kids. But to come in and say, let's look at how you can support health, not demise. And that some of the things that you're doing from love, from a good place, just aren't working.
The art of doing an intervention is actually more difficult than hostage negotiation situations you've been a part of.
Interventions are not an entry-level position. It's part of what scares me when I hear about people out doing interventions that don't have a lot of training. We're there in a room with a family, and it's also life and death. It can be more difficult than a hostage situation in that it's more complex. There's more denial. In a hostage situation, a person's got a goal, they've got a motive, they've got behaviors. We try and do our best to understand what those behaviors are. Often people want an out or they want something. With an intervention, we're dealing with impaired brain chemistry, complex family dynamics, and it's often very difficult to maneuver things in a way where you're still able to be respectful and not come in and shame somebody or threaten somebody, but to help them to move into that first step of I'll go get some help, and to do that in a way that can be as loving, respectful, and gentle but firm as possible.